a few different things happening here today. First, we should. First is sad and bad news that involving Roni Eshel, who was the IDF soldier who went disappearing. Obviously, October 7th when Hamas attacked and massacred. I assume they brought her into Gaza. Remember we had her uncle on with us to talk about her because the family was terrified. He is Elad Levy joined us. The family was desperate, and a friend of ours, Bethany Mandel, who's done incredible work, really has dedicated herself for the last month to trying to spread the word about these missing people, among other things. Got us in touch with him, and he joined us on this podcast.
After we got out from the bomb shelters, we started to see some, live feeds of Hamas terrorists getting into to the villages and to the civilian villages. Our niece, Roni, we knew where she's located, near the Gaza border. And at around 9:30 a.m., she sent a text message to her mom. It was very plain and simple. Hi, Mom, I'm okay. I'm busy. And, I love you. That was the last time what we heard from her.
Your niece looks like any of my daughter's friends who might be singing Taylor Swift songs, and
exactly. She loves Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
She's a big fan. Yes, she's exactly like your child. Your child and your neighbor's child.
So she was found dead today. 19 years old, Roni Eshel. And I'm not sure if there are any more details, but it is just a tragic thing. Can't imagine what the family is going through. You can't imagine. Or what they're feeling now. I mean, this has been a month of pure hell for them, I assume, and it's this young lady never had a chance to start a life, and it is terrible. It is terrible. Okay, so it is Sergeant Roni Eshel, 19 years old, an observer in Battalion 414. She was killed on October 7th. Okay. Identified name allowed to be published. So that's just a sad thing. I did message Elad. He thanks us for helping him. And obviously they're and Bethany Mandel is very, very upset. And, I mean, this is what these savage murderers are up to. And they are, and they need to be eradicated. That's the end of that. They gotta, and they're doing it right now. They're doing it right now.
And that's what makes it so bad that the Western media is carrying water for these animals who brought
Amazing.
all this on everybody in the region, frankly. It's obviously tragic and horrific for the people of Israel and those who suffered under these terror attacks. It's terrible for the people of Gaza too, and Hamas is directly responsible for that as well. But, as we found out, as we talked about yesterday when this news broke, they had embedded photojournalists with Hamas when they were doing these attacks. And, we have a bunch of people saying, what's her name? Megan McArdle at the Washington Post is going around saying, like,
amazing.
Oh, well, benefit of the doubt, they could have just been following a breaking story. Well, they weren't wearing any press credentials.
Amazing.
Some of them were holding grenades. I mean, like, what are we doing here?
Right.
These are Hamas people who are documenting this for Hamas and are also being paid by Western media outlets. Absolutely unbelievable. The media outlets should be ashamed.
Absolutely.
and, should be really answerable for the people that they're employing in foreign countries. They're enabling terrorism by paying these people for, quote, stories when they're participating in attacks. I mean, Israel is saying that these people are going to be treated as part of Hamas.
I look forward to that day happening. I absolutely look forward to it. I think Israel should sue the hell out of these news companies, and the United States should, and the Department of Justice should go after them.
Meanwhile, the Washington Post also pulled this cartoon. Did you see this? They had an editorial cartoon that showed that it showed the Hamas guy, the one who's on TV all the time with the thing on his head, supposedly from praying because he's so devout, with children and babies tied all over him, saying like "stop attacking civilians" or whatever. It's a good cartoon because it's absolutely true. That's what Hamas does.
Yes.
They use
they pulled it because the Hamas sympathizers over here found it offensive.
Yes. Oh. They pulled it. The Washington Post pulled the cartoon because the Hamas sympathizers, including the ones inside their company, found it offensive.
Amazing.
So that's what the story is saying. It's saying that the editor, Sally Busby, caved to staff pressure to pull the article. The Free Beacon is reporting this. They have the internal emails saying Busby wrote out to the staff, "Dear colleagues, given the many deep concerns and conversations today in our newsroom, I wanted to ensure everyone saw the notes sent out tonight by the Post Opinions editor David Shipley and to Post readers and to his staff in Opinions." Busby forwarded an email that Shipley had sent Opinions staff in which he had said he had personally taken down the cartoon. Shipley included the full text of an editor's note in which he publicly expressed regret that he had missed something profound and divisive in the published image.
Wow.
A cartoon published by Michael Ramirez on the war in Gaza, a cartoon whose publication I approve, was seen by many readers as racist.
Ha!
This was not my intent. I saw the drawing as a caricature of a specific individual, which it clearly is, the Hamas spokesperson who celebrated the attacks on unarmed civilians in Israel.
So wait a second. You can't depict the Hamas guy looking like a Hamas guy?
It's literally a cartoon.
Because that's racism.
His shirt says Hamas, and it literally is it looks exactly like the spokesperson guy.
This is like this is a dangerous trope of somebody who looks like a Hamas guy is a dangerous trope.
Right. The cartoon depicted an individual labeled Hamas with children, a baby, and a woman strapped to his body. How dare Israel attack civilians, the man says in a speech bubble. Along with Shipley's editor's note, the Post published letters to the editor that variously called the cartoon deeply malicious, deeply racist, and full of bias and prejudice. Grow a pair, Washington Post. There's nothing racist about this. It's literally exactly what Hamas does. It's not even like a metaphor. It's an exact representation.
That's so disgraceful. Meanwhile, by the way,
the Post also reported on Wednesday evening about its removal of the cartoon by Ramirez, who twice won the Pulitzer Prize at the Las Vegas Review-Journal before joining the Post in May. The report said the drawing was criticized as racist and dehumanizing towards Palestinians and described the Hamas caricature as having a large nose and a snarling mouth.
Go F yourselves. My goodness, what a disgrace. Freaking Bezos,
Thank
really?
goodness for the conversations in the newsroom.
You let these morons, 22-year-old morons, make any decisions at all. It's ridiculous. Will that be the last conversation in the newsroom you think they'll be having?
No, I'm sure they'll make sure that the Washington Post keeps hiring their friends who are in Hamas killing civilians to get photos of the events.
I mean, this is, and right now the New York Times is being occupied by people. I don't know how many of them are internal. The building's being occupied by protesters who want the better coverage for Hamas. They said the coverage is too pro-Israel.
Okay.
Yep.
So the New York Times is paying people in Hamas for their coverage of events, and the coverage is too pro-Israel, apparently. I mean, can things get more absurd here?
And no, it's amazing. It's amazing. And there's also a huge rally and street protest in the middle of New York City right now that is very, very big as well. Here's the New York Times.
Killed by apartheid Israel on October 7, 2023.
Ceasefire now!
Mohammed al-Salhi, killed in Gaza by apartheid Israel on October 7, 2023.
Ceasefire now!
Yeah. Great people.
That's great. Yeah, and by the way, it's also today the anniversary of Kristallnacht.
Yeah.
So just to add to the symbolism of all this here, you have, masked people in California beating up Jewish people in the street for daring to point out what Hamas did, and it on the anniversary of like one of the worst anti-Jewish genocidal pogroms that has happened in history. I mean, it's it's sometimes like too much for me. I don't know what to do with people who cheer on this stuff. It's depressing, honestly.
Well, yeah. I mean, so this is just what we've been saying all month now. Is that this is who this country is, and we've got a problem with an entire generation of Americans who think this thing is okay, and they're sick and demented, and all I can say is that I thankfully so far none of our kids have been enraptured by any of this stuff or the insanity. They hear us talking all the time, and so some of the craziness that's been happening culturally is considered kind of a punchline in our house, and I think that's good. But this is ghoulish, this is dark, and this is going to be a problem. And they don't even see or take a moment, a beat, to take in the atrocities that happen in Israel. They're moving right along to apartheid, genocide, Israel, this, that. It's all.
I mean, fundamentally, at the end of the day, they think Israelis had it coming.
Yes.
They think the babies
yeah.
in the,
Mm-hmm.
in the kibbutzes
They
had
weren't
it coming.
beheaded; they were just murdered. Okay, that's where they're arguing. That's where we are right now. So if it's one of your college kids, I mean, do you guys seen this? I can't imagine. First of all, I cannot. If my kid ever learned like something like this in college, and we're finding stories of people in high schools teaching them as well.
Right.
It's all over Libs with TikTok. She's also been doing some incredible work now. It would be the end of. I would not be making any more college payments. I would not. It is time. Either you're on the side of the monsters or you're on the side of civilization, and
Right.
Hamas is the monsters. And so, yeah, I would edit my child's life and our own lives based on support I'm seeing for these people. All the entire staff of baristas walked out of a coffee shop owned by Jewish people in Manhattan, and since then, since I got the word out, people have been patronizing the place. So I'm all for that. I mean, I would like to know, if the left wants to do ESG, let's do an ESG. I'm all for it. I guess we should get to some of the politics going on. Or do you want to stick?
No, that's fine. Another debate that no one watched last night.
Oh yeah,
So.
Another debate that no one watched last night. The people pearl clutching, kind of neocon-ish Republicans really want this to be Nikki Haley to be a thing. They're trying to make it a thing.
I mean, a lot of pearl clutching people, and I joined you on the air today, and a lot of the callers were saying stuff like about how Trump can't win or Trump's flawed and this and that. And I mean, like, I'm right there with you. I agree. I have been yelled at by many of our listeners for not supporting Trump enough early enough and criticizing him too much. And, but like when the writing's on the wall, it's on the wall, and the Republican voters want him. Right. Largely because of this stuff. And it just feels so desperate to me. Like, I still am seeing all these pundits on Twitter acting like this debate mattered and there's like some voter deciding going on.
Yeah.
But I don't get what people think is happening.
No. I mean,
you think all the polls are wrong by like 40 points?
And which is why
I don't.
Which is one of the reasons why Vivek Ramaswamy is having such a good time, because I think his people know it's over.
Right.
And so he's just having a good old time.
That's the choice we face. Do you want a leader from a different generation who's going to put this country first? Or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
All right, Mr.
In which case, we've got two of them on stage
Mr. Ramaswamy, thank you.
Obviously, it's a good line. It's a good line. there were a few good moments. At one point, Ramaswamy went after Nikki Haley's daughter for being on Twitter.
On TikTok.
On TikTok. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Let me get to that one. That's probably one worth listening to. Hold on. Do I not have this one? We have this one, don't we?
I for sure have it. I can send it to us again.
Oh, you have it for the other.
I might have sent it to my other show.
Your other show, that's right.
No,
yeah, please do it.
Yeah, but so all the candidates got asked this about TikTok, and Vivek did use it as an opportunity to go after Nikki Haley because he said her teen daughter's on TikTok, which I don't really see so much. People were saying, like, I can't believe he would go after her
teen. I think she's 24.
But I think she was a teen when she was on TikTok or whatever.
In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter
appreciating
out of your
anybody else's
voice.
adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy
scum.
answer is actually in the last.
That was Nikki Haley's finest moment. You're just scum moment.
Well, right, because it's her only real moment.
Yes.
That's,
So meanwhile, elsewhere, both Joe Biden and RFK were heckled today. Here's Joe Biden.
My dad he didn't own it. He ran an automobile agency for a long time.
Ugh.
No, let her go. No. No, let it. It's okay. Anyway.
All right, so that's how the Biden people handled it. RFK was also heckled.
People have been killed in Gaza so far. Most of them are women and children being financed by the United States. If you're for protecting the people of this country, you would want a ceasefire right now, because I'll tell you what, us financing Israeli genocide of 1,000 people is making everybody less safe, including Americans who are financing it, sir. They have American Nazis.
Can I answer you? Israel, can I answer your question, sir? Or can I answer your question? Israel turned Gaza over to the Palestinians in 2005. They have not occupied, it is not an occupied territory. They removed all Israeli citizens at that time, 9,000 people. They even dug up the Jewish graves. They offered to buy Gaza to finance an economic Eden in Gaza. They offered to rebuild the port of Gaza, to make it the finest port in the Mediterranean and turn it into the Singapore of the East. They gave hundreds of greenhouses, state-of-the-art, that made Gaza completely self-sufficient and a net food exporter. As soon as Hamas came in, Hamas has in its charter that they want the genocide, the destruction of Israel, the genocide of every Jew, not only in Israel, but the entire world.
So anyway, he answered it how you should be answering it. But that's a different. So politically, I guess we just get into the politics of the thing. We talked today about what if our RFK means in the race. I think he'll chip away at Biden some. I also think Jill Stein's now in the race. That between Jill Stein
and Cornel West,
they've
got to both be on the other side of that, right? I mean,
pro-Palestine?
Yeah.
Yes, but they're still
crazy radical.
Yes, but it's still parts of the left, and Biden's also on both sides of it.
Oh, right, yeah.
So
they're having a revolt with their own staffers in Washington, D.C., because they've hired a bunch of psychotic radicals that work for them, both in the White House and on Capitol Hill. There are a bunch of young people working for them that disagree with them on this stuff and are like quitting their jobs or protesting or writing anonymous letters to say that they want the White House and Washington, D.C. to be more pro-Palestinian. So, I mean, the writing is on the wall with this stuff for the Democratic Party. They have a big rift in their party over it.
Yeah,
and
they
voters that they need.
And here's the difference between the Democrats and Republicans. However flawed Republicans are, they don't play the internal pressure from activists BS like this.
Right.
But Democrats have told people, they've sanctioned this weaponization, of your voice so you can be heard and seen. And so, yeah, these people are being heard and seen, and Democrats have to countenance it because they've taken a loyalty pledge towards wokeism. So there you go.
Right.
So now you can be killed by this
They
weapon.
made it so that they can't disagree with Black Lives Matter on anything.
That's
and
right.
Black Lives Matter says the Palestinians are the black people of the situation in the Middle East.
So senior management in these media outlets, just like these politicians, have to countenance this stuff and sometimes have to be, to use a word we've been using today, defenestrated by their own people. Because they've said, okay, I'm playing in this contract. I'm living in your woke matrix, and all the woke rules apply. And there you go. Meanwhile, so Democrats are in a tough position because they need somebody else to get into the race. There's already the one guy, I can never remember his name, who's kind of a moderate Democrat congressman. Mm-hmm. I assume at some point Newsom's just going to go. I mean, now's the time, dude.
But also, Joe Manchin announced today he is not running for re-election.
And a Republican will win his seat.
A Republican will win his seat, but people are saying he may be about to announce a third-party run as well.
Oh, interesting.
For president.
Oh, under the no labels?
Potentially with no labels, potentially with somebody else. I mean, he's obviously a moderate from a state Trump won pretty handily.
Right.
So he, again, is probably a threat to both candidates again.
He's also been effed over by Biden in the Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
So he doesn't mind effing them over or Trump over, really. I mean, so that'll be interesting to see if he actually gets in. Larry Hogan is putting out videos that...
Don't.
I'm not...
No, I know you. I'm just saying, Larry Hogan, stop it.
But Larry Hogan's putting out videos that make it look like he's thinking about it, too. I don't know what...
Larry Hogan's a Republican.
I know,
What's he
but
gonna,
didn't he quit the party? Is he still in the party?
Oh, did he?
I thought he did one of those events for one of those, like, either no labels
Mitt
or one of
Romney,
those other
but a bigger pussy and fat. That's Larry Hogan. This is not going to work. It's not the time. Oh, my God.
One of the
ridiculous.
most hardcore COVID lockdown people in the country. I don't know. I just don't understand. And then I saw Jane Swift, another squish
what?
Republican. Not that she was going to run.
Yeah.
But she was tweeting, oh, for his running mate, DeSantis should pick Governor Sununu. Like, what planet are you on? First of all, to think that DeSantis is in a position to be picking a running mate right now.
Yeah.
And secondly, to think that Sununu adds something to that ticket that DeSantis needs.
Well, the hamster, maybe.
I mean, but, like, you don't think that... Do you think Sununu would win New Hampshire as a VP pick for DeSantis?
Well, it's weird because...
If he wasn't going to win it anyway?
Yeah, but, well, you make a good point because you're not a ticket at the New Hampshire primary yet.
Right.
Unless
no, I mean, I'm saying, so that would be like a general election pick to do that. Like, but... Like, what are these political takes? Why are people like Jane Swift?
So
in theory, shouldn't she know something?
Are we assuming that DeSantis is going to win the primary?
Yeah, that's what the assumption is. Because if you're picking a running mate, then you...
Yeah, okay. Might as well, yeah. Measure the Oval Office for curtains, too. Might as well.
I mean, like, but that's what I mean. It's like I'm seeing these takes from people online that are like delusional from people who are acting like they have something to say about politics. And Jane Swift has served as governor. I mean, she wasn't elected. She was, governor.
She was selected.
But, she's another squish Republican governor who should
replaced
know
a
something.
squish Republican governor.
Who, in theory, should know something about electoral politics, right?
Yes.
You would think. But...
people are just
posting absolutely insane takes on the internet, like these weird, out of touch with reality. Like, have you looked at any poll numbers from any primary? I don't understand what these people are thinking right now.
No, this is like acting out in denial.
It seems weird to me.
Nothing organic is going to beat Trump at this point.
No,
unless you consider a heart attack organic, and that is it. If Trump somehow becomes ineligible to run, or he's dead, those are the only two possibilities, because people will vote for him in jail. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. I mean, and ineligible to run, you have to think, even if he's not printed on the ballots, which the courts have already thrown out some of these challenges to having him on the ballots, I don't think most of the courts want to be responsible for taking a candidate that people like off the ballot. It seems like judicial meddling in the electoral process.
And also, Trump is looking, you elevate him and you almost sanitize him when you look at the people pursuing him.
Right.
Like, this judge is a psychotic in New York. And Letitia James is a psychotic. And all of these people are...
Well, and in addition to that, even if you take him off the ballots, there's, like, no one better equipped in the country to win a write-in campaign than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
He has an extremely well-known name that's easy to spell and write. And, you know, people know that he's running, clearly. It's not a secret. So... I don't know. It seems to me that if you took him off the ballots, you would create a monster write-in campaign. If Lisa Murkowski can do it, Donald Trump can do it, wouldn't you think?
And that's interesting, because that would mean, unless I'm wrong here, that would mean that, I mean, literally, you will have ballots that can't be processed by computers.
Well, they can process, you know, whether there's enough write-ins to have to hand count. But yeah.
And there would be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there would be.
There would be a ballot that is left blank, except for a name.
Right. So, I mean...
Interesting.
You know, but I don't think the courts will even allow it to go forward.
Right.
Because I don't think they want that.
It would actually be good for him if it was in a state he's obviously going to lose anyway.
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah, because it would
kick him off the ballot in California.
Oh, yeah, because then you're going to get people worked up about it.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
It seems so unfair and crazy.
Meanwhile, the Joe Biden's insurance policy was in Boston today.
I think it's always important to look around the room and then ask who's not in the room, and then figure out how to bring them in. And often, and all of the leaders here know, often is not just because you might leave the door open. That's not enough. You got to go out to where folks are, literally, where they are, be it where they are geographically or where they are in terms of what they're bringing in terms of life experience to the moment, to be able to connect with them.
She already said it was literally where they are.
And bring them in.
Oof.
I think it's always important to ask.
Okay, I get it. Oh, so that is where we are. So we should probably talk a little bit about what we were going to talk about yesterday, which is, can Republicans win at all anymore with abortion being illegal or being sent back to the states with Dobbs?
And I say yes, clearly Republicans can win. Mike DeWine won in Ohio the governorship by
Isn't he the exception, though?
20 points. Ron DeSantis won by a lot after doing an abortion bill in Florida. People don't like the bills. They don't like the policies. But if they like the person, they will vote for them still. And that's, I think, what it's about at the end of the day. I mean, like, the same people who are telling Republicans they can't be too crazy on abortion are, you know, a lot of them love Trump. And he's the person who did the abortion ruling by putting in those justices, right? And fundamentally, I think, you know, it's much more about the people vote for the person themselves, especially within races like president, right? But also in these bigger statewide races like senators or governors, they're voting really for, the person that they perceive is best for the job. And they will vote. Clearly, they'll turn out and they will vote for the policies on abortion every time there's a referendum. They've knocked it down. But they still do vote for the people who put the policies into effect, even if they disagree, which is interesting to me. I think that the bigger challenge Republicans have, and I said this to you, that this morning too, when we were talking about the election results, is I think the bigger challenge Republicans have is that they play defense on being a Republican in general, and the left does not. They are constantly on offense, constantly saying Republicans are evil, terrible people. You cannot vote for them. They're, horrific and are going to enslave you and all this. They will tell people that you're literally Satan. And I think that that's more what it comes down to, is that there are, we saw it in municipal races here in Massachusetts, right? People are not voting for school committee members and mayors because they think they're going to implement some kind of pro-life policy. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
They don't think the school committee members, they don't care about that issue on the school board. It's not... the school board has no jurisdiction over that. But what they do vote on for the school board is if people, say that this person is virtually in the KKK or is the equivalent of a Nazi or a bigot or wants trans genocide or something, they absolutely will vote on that. And the right has ceded that territory. The people that we know who are losing school committee and mayor races in West Hartford or Melrose or wherever it is, they're losing because a bunch of liberal white women think they're literally Nazis.
Right, and they say that, you're right, and we're used to being called that, and so we absorb it. Meanwhile, we don't use it on them.
Yeah, and I said this on your radio show today. I know Republican activists in Massachusetts who tried to make the hashtag "It's okay to vote GOP" happen. Talk about being on pathetic defense. Like, you've already given up the ground that you're evil. It's okay to vote for me if you really have to. What kind of argument is that, to vote for the Republican Party? It's not "Make America Great Again," which that's a slogan that's aspirational and positive and a reason to vote for somebody. Not "It's okay to vote for me." You're not completely evil if you vote for me.
And if somebody is doing something groomerish, call them a groomer. It's not in good taste, but who cares? It works. They really hate it. And I'm all for fighting dirty. And you call them racist. They are. They're sexist. They are.
They sure are anti-Semites. That's for sure.
Yeah, they sure are anti-Semites. That's absolutely. And they're absolutely sexist. They're trying to erase women.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this stuff, that's why, to me, I don't think it's a particular policy. Like, when you give voters the opportunity to vote directly on policy, they will vote for something different, but they don't necessarily punish politicians over policy.
No.
And you see that stuff. I mean, you see it, like, especially in places like Massachusetts, where we have had squish moderate Republican governors, and they'll try to endorse stuff. Do you remember Charlie Baker made that whole issue out of school choice and trying to just not even do something crazy on school choice, but he tried to do something that was just slightly raise the cap on the number of charter schools in the state so that more kids could go to charter schools, since the lotteries are always hugely overloaded and there's so much more demand than there are charter schools under the limit. And he was reelected by huge numbers, but the ballot initiative to raise the cap on the charter schools failed dramatically. And and people didn't punish him for that, even though he made it a huge issue and the signature Republican practical common sense issue that was meant to help minority voters and be an issue that people could unite on. People don't punish politicians necessarily for policy positions, which is weird, but they're voting. They still think of him as a moderate and a decent governor and a decent guy, and a good manager or whatever they think of him as, even though they disagree with him on the ballot question that he's going out of his way to promote. It doesn't seem to impact them.
You familiar with this guy, Rote?
No, not really.
New York, a man named John Rote has been arrested after he saved a woman from getting robbed by a homeless man in a Manhattan subway station. On Tuesday evening, Rote noticed that a woman was getting robbed and immediately jumped into action. The man pulled out a gun and fired warning shots to stop the robbery. The warning shots spooked the homeless man, saving the woman from getting robbed. According to the video footage, Rote noticed the woman getting mugged by 49-year-old Matthew Rush. He then took off in shot to scare the guy off. Rote then started getting closer and yelled at Roche before firing the gun once more. I want to be clear. We don't tolerate this kind of conduct in NYC Transit, period, said City Transit President Richard Davey after Rote was arrested.
We just tolerate the muggings and the other stuff.
Exactly.
We tolerate the criminal.
This is him getting arrested.
Were you trying to protect someone?
So once again, much like Daniel Penny, you do the right thing somewhere, and they are going to arrest you in New York. What a crooked, backward place! And congratulations, New York. Just a total mess.
It's always on the people who are trying to do the right thing and just trying to like live life and not be completely crimed out of existence.
Yes. Alice, what is the hot sauce?
That is the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce. They bring us, of course, the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline. Oh, we didn't do our what are you like watching, listening to?
Oh, okay. What do you like watching, listening to?
Right now, I am...
Oh, no, it's Sup With You.
Sup With You. Okay. Are we allowed to say that? I'm not even sure. Right now, I am reading The Mill on the Floss by George Eliot.
Okay. Right now, I'm not reading Stolen Youth, How Radicals Are Erasing Innocence and Indoctrinating a Generation. But I want to suggest it to you because it's written by our friend Bethany Mandel. It's available on Amazon. I don't read a lot of books, but Stolen Youth, How Radicals Are Erasing Innocence and Indoctrinating a Generation. And we have had conversations with her about this and how we've been just, underserving kids and we've been terrible. So, and Bethany's a great person. Mm-hmm. So I would highly suggest that. Let's go to the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline. What do you say?
Okay.
AI or Al, I can't tell the difference with the computer, in New Hampshire.
I think it's Al.
Hey, Tom, Alice. This is Al in New Hampshire.
Hey,
and congratulations on baby number 13 or 14 or whatever number you're up to now.
27.
Hey, just a reminder for everybody that is insisting Trump is the guy and Trump is the one going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
In his win, in his big victory over Hillary, he did it with less than 47% of the vote. With Biden, he didn't get 48% of the vote. I'm not a political strategist, but I don't think more indictments and guilty verdicts actually in the end help the candidate. Call me old-fashioned. I understand we don't need saints, but I don't know if this is the way to go. So anyway, just wanted to pass that on. Hope all's well. Talk to you.
Thanks, Al.
They do seem to help in the primary.
When an indictment is valid, it might not help the candidate. But in this case, I think people see this as completely BS, as the establishment going after Trump, and I do too. So I think this is going to help him. If he could be in jail, it would help him. Absolutely. SFM, Nikki Haley's songs.
Hi,
hey, Steve.
Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
I really love the sound cut that you played of Nikki Haley on today's show. Now, my first walk-up song was Under Pressure by Queen. It's actually David Bowie and Queen.
Yes, true.
You strunz.
Ooh.
And so my first walk-up song was Under Pressure by David Bowie and Queen. And my second song was I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett. And my third song is The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. You freaking jerk. You suck. Oh, you're so awful. And how many more bleeping high-heel jokes?
Yeah, I know, man.
I know.
Are we going to have to put up with? You freaking... Thank you.
I know, man. I'm right there with you. It's the same thing. We feel the same way, absolutely. Anonymous.
Help me to understand why this
Steve.
debate is still going on. unless he's thrown in jail, then Trump's going to be the nominee.
Yep.
And if
And
he
maybe
is thrown
even
in jail, it's either going to be DeSantis or Haley. I mean, Scott, Vivek, Christie, they have no chance. So why are we still doing this?
I think they're doing it in case Trump drops dead.
The consultants have to be paid, Steve.
Well, that's really why we're doing it. Yes, that's a great moment.
A lot of people's jobs depend on this campaign continuing to happen.
If Trump should get taken away by aliens immediately, then there will be a race.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be establishment Nikki Haley versus hybrid Ron DeSantis, essentially.
Right.
And Jackwad Vivek providing the entertainment for the time being. SFM, John Meacham.
Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
Tom, I believe the blowhard, pathologically lying historian's last name is pronounced Meacham.
Meacham, okay, or Meacham.
John Meacham. But
I hate him.
In fairness, that was Tom mispronouncing it back in 2020.
Steve, I have such. I can't. I don't want to get in trouble. I will just say that I have all of the bad thoughts that I can have at one time about him.
I am praying. That was a great segment. I am praying that he's another one that turns out to be, a quote eminent historian unquote, who turns out to be a complete plagiarist. Like Stephen Ambrose and Doris Kearns Goodwin.
Yeah.
Praying on my knees every night because that guy needs to be hurt. That's all.
Well said. Well said. That was Steve saying that, not me. But totally well said. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This one says podcast.
Are you washed? Yes, I'm washed. In the blood of the Lamb.
Justin?
Yes, I'm washed in the blood of the Lamb. I'm all clean, I'm all spotless, I'm pure like the snow.
Is this a spiritual?
I don't know. Is it Wilco? I don't know who it is.
Washed in the blood.
You should know, Alice.
Oh, hey.
Hey,
how's
Justin.
it going?
Good. Remember in the ancient history old days when Justin was calling about that
The spook light?
The spook light, yes. How did you know I was thinking about that?
I know you.
What a weird time that was. He was great.
I missed Tom's bike.
I know. We need the bike back.
So you were earlier, much earlier, talking about podcast Rushmore.
Yeah.
I got you guys at the Barrel.
Thank you.
I got Story Time with Dutch Mantel.
Do you know that one?
And then number 3, I got the what's her name? Kelly, who used to be on
Megyn Kelly
on Fox News.
A lot of people like that. She's doing the next debate.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah.
Her and who else?
Her and Rumble and
oh my goodness!
I think I sent it to us. Where
it's the dark web crowd is.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, not like too much, but
well, I mean, she and Rumble, she's in there.
Okay, RNC to partner with News Nation.
Okay.
That's the thing that Chris Cuomo went to. The Washington Free Beacon, the Megyn Kelly Show, and Rumble.
There we go. There we go.
Get Off My Lawn with Gavin McInnes.
Okay.
I don't think I left anybody off. I don't think so.
That's somebody you got in trouble for having on Herald Radio.
Have a great day.
Yeah. I had Gavin McInnes off.
There were conversations in the newsroom. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, there were conversations in the newsroom, including one wanting to have me fired for having him on because they thought he was a neo-Nazi. But we broke news. Actually, I've talked to him, I think, maybe twice. And he's a great guy to talk to. He's got a great personality. I don't care about anything else. I don't. He is a creator of the Proud Boys back when they used to just get into drunken brawls. But yeah, I have no problem with him. I'm sick of people. I was told back then that I need to have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with him. SFML's support for SFG. Steve from Gloucester. Here we go.
Okay. Hi, Steve from Merrimack.
Hey, Steve.
I'm not on Twitter, so I guess I missed out on all the Steve from Gloucester hate, which I don't understand. But I wanted to congratulate Steve. That was The Minahan show the past 2 days has been fantastic.
Yes, it has.
And it was yesterday's episode was even better, made better by Steve. Steve, you were the focus of the show for about 40 minutes in a 2+ hour episode. It was great.
It was.
And of course, things get taken out of context. But what a brave move, pal. That was good.
Steve was great.
Yeah.
This Twitter hate shall pass. But I wanted to say well done and. Thank you.
This show is a safe space for Steve from Gloucester.
Absolutely, and he's back on Twitter. His account is locked now, but he's back there doing stuff. Absolutely, all the stuff. The pressure and the stuff is all just make believe stuff. Doesn't really matter. Unlike here in the Burn Barrel universe, Alice, where everything is real. Everything is. Here comes. You know what comes after that?
I don't know what.
Sun King. Do you know Here Comes the Sun King?
I don't think so.
You don't know?
I thought you were going to say nothing to get hung about.
Oh, it sounded like that.
I thought you were going that way. But...
By the way, that Now and Then song Sally was playing it downstairs might be growing on me.
It's the song itself. I just agree with you. Like, I think the piano and
might
stuff.
Be growing. Might be growing.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. For this great week. What?
We didn't play the woke girl who gets pulled over.
People will have to go listen to the Tom Shattuck show for that.
Yeah.
We played that on the Tom Shattuck show, or we can do
it
Sunday.
Hour number 3 or Sunday we'll do it.
Yeah, we can talk about it Sunday. But a lot of great excuses. Tom should have tried some of these when he got a DUI. I don't know. Maybe
Did we make that public?
On this show, we did.
Did we already? Okay.
Yes. Remember, Morgan was trying to find your mugshot?
Oh, yeah, that's from 97 or 96. 97, I think.
Okay.
That was a long time ago, yeah.
Anyway, have a great weekend. We'll see you Sunday.
I was good looking back then. I would like to see the mugshot.